If you've ever been curious what it's like to go solo flashpacking in Southeast Asia, this video is for you. When I say flashpacking, it's basically the fancy version of backpacking. It's not really all that different, except that I always get a private room with an ensuite bathroom. I'm too old to stay in dorm rooms with drunken teens. I also plan my trips a bit more than a regular backpacker, but that's cause I always have such a huge list of things I want to see and do. Other than that, my trips are pretty similar to backpacking trips. I travel light, I don't splurge too much, and I'm always open to whatever new adventure pops up. My journey starts here in Hanoi, Vietnam, after a pretty miserable flight from Sweden. Flights are ridiculously expensive these days, so I had to leave at 7 in the morning with 2 layovers, and one of them was 10 hours in Hong Kong. This was the only reasonably priced flight I could find, but I kinda wish I'd spent a little bit more and taken a different route. Today is Christmas Day, so even all the tacky shops are closed. But I'm finally in Hanoi, and I have a feeling I'm gonna have a pretty good time here. One thing that everyone online says is that you have to visit Halong Bay and take a cruise here. This is an amazing UNESCO World Heritage Site that's supposed to be pretty cold this time of year because it's December, but I guess we lucked out when it comes to the weather. I think it's really cold in the water though, so summer might have been a better option either way. Traveling solo isn't really a problem for me, but I know that many people are nervous about it. It can get lonely, but I'm a little bit of a lone wolf, so I'm fine with that. And if I do get bored, I try to show that I'm open to interact with people, like take off my earbuds or smile in a way to invite conversation. Maybe not like that exactly. Other travelers who are more extroverted than me often reach out when I do stuff like that, so I think you'll be fine as well. In an effort to save a little bit of money while also trying something new, I decided to take a sleeper train from Hanoi to Hue. I did select a soft luxury bed though, like most foreigners do, so it cost me 1.5 million dongs, but I still think it's a good deal, especially since I don't need a hotel room tonight. The railway station doesn't really give off any feeling of luxury though. It's not exactly luxury, but it's still better than the sleeper trains in Sweden. So I shall not complain. Hue used to be the imperial capital of Vietnam, so it's a place filled with history. You can marvel at the imperial citadel, or check out lots of other famous pagodas or mausoleums. It's also an absolutely gorgeous city, even in the rain, but there's something else here that I find extra interesting. Look at this beer. Huda beer is brewed in Hue, but it's actually a collaboration between Denmark and Vietnam. The name is a combination of Hu for Hue and Da for Danish. Carlsberg has a brewery here in Hue, and they collaborate with Vietnam to create this very special beer. To be honest, the beer isn't all that special, but I'm afraid to say that out loud. Let me give you a tour of my hotel in Hue. This is the Jade Scene Hotel, and this is what you get for 460,000 dong, I believe. This is actually an upgraded room. My original room wasn't ready, but they gave me this upgrade for free. And they've been really helpful in general, and they let me check in early. Great hotel. I did say that I'm flashpacking, right? A little bit of splurging now and then is perfectly fine. To be honest, this hotel isn't much more expensive than other hotels in the vicinity. Maybe 100,000 dongs more, but you get a lot for that money. Hoi An has been called the most beautiful town in Vietnam, and it's easy to see why on a day like this. Today is a pretty special day. It's New Year's Eve, and I've taken a flight from Da Nang to Ho Chi Minh City, better known as Saigon. Slow travel is just too slow when I just have 3 weeks to spend during my vacation. So it had to be a flight to get here in time for New Year's Eve. And this is something I don't want to miss. There are so many caged birds in all of the cities here. I feel sorry for them. I'm not really sure what the pet situation is like in Vietnam, how well they take care of pets. I hope they take care of them well. Is there a bang camera here? Not gonna comment. After a quick flight from Saigon, I find myself in Siem Reap in Cambodia. When I was checking in Saigon, they tried to make me upgrade to a more spacious seat. It's only $10. No, I don't want to pay anything. Well, you don't understand. You get a bad seat otherwise. Dude, it's a 1-hour flight. I can stand if it comes to that. It was really easy for me to enter Vietnam because Sweden is visa exempt, but entering Cambodia requires a visa for most countries. Fortunately, that turned out to be very easy to fix online, and I booked Angkor Wat tickets at the same time. I'm loving my Southeast Asia trip so far, but now that I've entered Cambodia, it unfortunately means that I've entered the second half of my trip. I still have lots of places to visit, but it's hard not to feel a little bit like I'm reaching the end. It's a little bit stressful. I always get a little bit stressed when I have to return to my normal day-to-day life after a long trip, but I'll do my best to try to enjoy myself now. And I'm sure there's a lot of interesting stuff to see in Cambodia. I asked a visiting American what there is to do in Siem Reap, and he thought for a few seconds and then said, temples. Temples and partying. Just like at the bar street in Saigon, there's a lot of families here as well. It might be a cultural thing, but I just don't feel that children should be at a pub street. Siem Reap is a small town, but there is a fair amount of tourists. The feeling here is almost a little bit subdued. It doesn't really have the same energy as, for example, Vietnam, and maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I almost get a feeling of desperation from the locals as well. It is a very poor country though, so maybe that's to be expected. Cambodia has a little bit of bad luck being stuck between Thailand and Vietnam, which both has excellent food. Still, I would say that the food is perfectly fine here, better than the Philippines, even though maybe you won't travel here just for the food. Goodbye Cambodia and welcome Thailand. This is Phuket and I just flew here from Siem Reap. I've heard that Bangla Road is a proper hive of scum and villainy, so I thought I'd check it out a little bit. Gone are the endless amounts of people looking for a good time or people looking to make some money. And what remains is a pretty normal street you can find basically anywhere. There are just a few signs of yesterday's debauchery remaining. This speedboat will take me from Phuket to Phi Phi Island. A speedboat is definitely not the most pleasant way to travel, but it's the fastest. The ferry will take 2 hours, but this one just takes 1 hour. 1 hour while you're squeezed in like sardines in a can. But oh well, at least it'll get me there fast. This isn't my first trip to Phi Phi, but I think I'm gonna see some new things there this time. I've heard that Maya Bay is open for tourism again, so that's something to check out, even though it's gonna be completely touristy and overrated. I've also heard of a bar where tourists can get beaten up in Thai boxing matches. That could be interesting. I guess we'll see when I get there. Well, this was certainly nice. I think I splurged a little bit on my hotel room at Koh Phi Phi. Let's have a look at the balcony as well. I can't get out. Oh, it's locked. No, it's a sliding door. Whoops. Well, pretty nice view. Better than most hotel rooms on this trip so far. One of the best things about being a solo traveler is that you can do whatever you want. You don't have to adapt to others' wishes and others' plans. On the flip side, one of the worst things about being a solo traveler is that you have no one to share all the amazing things you see with. That can be mitigated though. Make sure you post everything on Instagram or Facebook or whatever you use. That way you can still feel connected with people at home, and you can get nice comments on all those cool photos you've taken. What do you do on Koh Phi Phi? Well, if you're a backpacker, you're probably gonna spend a lot of time drinking cheap 150 baht buckets and hang out at the beach. But I'm a flashpacker, so I'm gonna spend a lot of time underwater diving instead. I've dived Koh Phi Phi before, but it's fun to come back here and get a new perspective on these dive sites after I've seen more of the underwater world in other countries as well. There are many different types of solo travelers. Some thrive on being social and meeting people from all over the world. I'm more of a loner and not the cool kind. I have a hard time connecting with people, and I don't really make friends when I travel. I like having casual connections with people when I travel, and just have fun with random strangers that I meet. But what I really live for is the new sights and the new experiences. I am a vagabond after all, and sometimes I think that I just love traveling for traveling's sake. But alas, I can't afford to be a 5-star vagabond, so I'm just a 3-star vagabond. That'll have to do. After Koh Phi Phi, I find myself in Bangkok for the final night of my trip. And of course I had to go visit Khao San Road. After the spectacles that are Hoi An in Saigon and Bangla Road in Phuket, I have to say that I actually like Khao San Road quite a bit. It's absolutely touristy and absolutely tacky. It's full of depravity and desperation, but it's also very human. Khao San Road is probably the most famous of the backpacker roads in Southeast Asia, and at least in my view, it deserves it. Laughing gas seems to be really popular both in Vietnam and Thailand. I don't really see the appeal. No, thank you. From tropical beaches, I now return to the snowy and cold Sweden after tonight. Oh, my foot got stuck in something sticky here. Well, that's Khao San Road for you. I'm so grateful that I was able to do this trip, and it's been an amazing experience. Let's see if I can remember some trip statistics for you. Along the way, I've seen 3 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, I've seen 4 bar streets, and I've only lost one thing, a book that I forgot in Cambodia. However, 1 pair of shoes got destroyed as well in Hue in that awful rain. I visited 3 different countries, saw 4 sharks, and had way too many beers to count. I've had an incredible winter adventure, and I met some really cool people along the way. But most importantly, I made new memories that will stay with me for the rest of my life. And for me at least, that's what solo traveling is all about. I hope you enjoyed this brief look into my 3-week solo travel in Southeast Asia. You know the drill, like and subscribe, but most importantly, have a great day. Oh, and if you liked this video, you can check out this one as well. I have more to show from Southeast Asia.